Hello and welcome to my video. So usually I post like very technical videos. So today I thought I'll share something different. I thought I will share my journey into DevOps world. And talking about DevOps, like if you are changing your career and moving into DevOps and you want to learn DevOps technologies, please subscribe to my channel. I am actually like sharing whatever I'm learning on my YouTube channel, and you will not be wasting time if you watch my videos. That's my opinion. And uh, having said that, actually, let's move on to the topic of this video, which is actually a question that I get from my friends who are DBAs. They are like, Oracle DBAs mainly, and then they've been Oracle DBAs for X number of years, like, usually like 7, 8, anywhere from 7, 8 to 15, maybe more actually. Like, so they've been Oracle DBA for so many years, and now that like all the companies are migrating to cloud, uh, you know these companies, they are preferring a cloud native database. For example, like, AWS offers uh, PostgreSQL, MySQL, or Aurora database, that kind. So, these companies are moving their data from Oracle to all these databases. So they are basically worried about their jobs actually, even though they are working with Oracle databases currently. And of course, Oracle is not going away anytime soon. That we know, because in on-prem data centers, that's what you have, and they're not going to drop these databases overnight. But anyway, so they are like now wondering, what should I do? And that's what I used to think about. But basically, yeah, they're wondering, what they can do about this, right? uh, Talking about that, actually I presented a number of options in one of my earlier videos. I will post the link up in the cards, that should appear just about now. And but some people are kind of interested in DevOps actually, and they look around and there's like a lot of DevOps engineers. There's lots of videos and tutorials on Docker, Kubernetes, that kind of thing. And some people, they just ask me like how to become a DevOps engineer. And I thought, like, okay, like instead of just sharing it to that one person who is asking me that question, of course, like I do, talk to people in person, and then kind of like help them out. But I thought like I'll just like share the, my journey, how I kind of like transitioned away from just being only an Oracle DBA. Okay, so I just want to show you my, like talk about my journey. Uh, it might not be as interesting, but here's what it is. So I started my career in 2008, right at the peak of recession. I was fortunate enough to get a get an Oracle DBA project. I was consulting at the time. I was fresh out of my master's, MS Computer Science, and I actually joined a consulting company, and then I got like a good project like in 3 4 months. I had a great teacher. I learned a lot from him. I had a great roommate, buddy. We studied together. I became an Oracle DBA, and I actually like, I really like it. Oracle is a cool product. There's a lot of sophistication. I was an Oracle DBA, or I'm still an Oracle DBA in very much, but from 2008 to 2018, I was just an Oracle DBA. I was like doing Oracle DBA work, which is like creating databases, installing binaries, installing rack and data guard, uh, golden gate replication, that kind of thing actually. So performance tuning, that's another thing that's like an interesting area. uh, yeah, so all these things, I mean, I was doing only that for uh, 10 years actually, like until I moved to Salesforce in 2018, precisely in November 2018, and I was still continuing to do Oracle work, after I joined Salesforce, uh, in whatever team I was working at the time. Uh, Pretty much like working with Oracle real application testing, if you guys heard of that. But basically, still doing a lot of Oracle work. But in that, in that period, actually, just before I joined Salesforce, I was starting to learn Python. And I took like some courses on Udemy. I did like some basic projects that was given to me by the instructor of this course called Zero to Hero. I will post the link to that course below in the description. But basically, I did all the projects sincerely. But it was still very, I was still learning ABCs of Python. But after I joined Salesforce, I was working with Python scripts. Even though I did not do any engineering work myself, I just didn't know where to get started. I had no idea, but I was just trying to do my best. And sometimes, the scripts that I used to use would fail, and I would look into the scripts and I would understand things, and just troubleshoot the problem, and then like work with the engineers who were really working on those scripts to fix the problem, right? So I wasn't doing much of Python coding during that time, but I was actually starting to look into Python scripts, right? So then uh, comes my biggest turning point yet, which is uh, in December 2019. I was like kind of like wondering what to do next, and my boss at the time like offered me this position in a different team, and that is actually an infrastructure as code team. If you guys haven't heard of it, that's actually uh, very much hot in the market right now. It's pretty much like a DevOps team, but it's basically like provisioning infrastructure and managing its lifecycle operations, like creation, destroying, upgrading an infrastructure, as in a VM, a node, all those things, right? So this team was automating all the lifecycle operations, right? So I got to join this team, and uh, that time basically, I started learning a bunch of new things, right? So this, and of course, this thing, all these things were happening, on the cloud actually. So it was AWS. So I wanted to learn AWS. So I started by doing AWS Solution Architect certification, and also also did a course called AWS DevOps Engineer. So that is also around AWS, and I forgot to put that in the slide over here. But and So that was all learning, right? But I got an opportunity to work with Python, work on Python, like do Python coding, uh, you know, firsthand, right? So basically, I was like neck deep in Python projects at this time. I had to like transition. I had to migrate some Python code from on-prem to cloud actually, and then I took that very very seriously, and I gave it my best. I did that project, and I came out as a very good I came out with a lot of confidence in my Python programming abilities actually. And also in that time I created a bunch of pipelines on this tool called Spinnaker. So Spinnaker is like no, it's pretty much like Jenkins. Jenkins is really popular. Spinnaker is an open source product. uh, our team uses Spinnaker for provisioning infrastructure, not for deployment or anything. But basically, yeah. So I created a bunch of pipelines, and in that process I learned how to do Spinnaker template coding, right? So this, you're not like doing things manually on GUI, right? Like that's not the case usually, like in a real world. So I had to do a bunch of Spinnaker template coding in this language called Jinja, which I'm not really a fan of, but that's basically what I did, and that is where actually I really stepped into DevOps, right? So now I'm starting to work with pipelines, I'm working with Jinja code, uh, you know so that's where actually like I started getting the taste of DevOps world actually. And I took like other DevOps courses, like the ones I mentioned, like AWS DevOps Engineering, and then like traditional DevOps engineering courses. I learned a bunch about Docker. I documented what I learned in this YouTube channel again. If you haven't subscribed yet, do subscribe to the channel, and go back to my playlist. You will see all these Docker courses. I tried my best in explaining those things. So that was actually like that 1 year was tremendous growth for me, because I learned so much. As you can see this list, it's not easy actually. On top of your job and your family responsibilities and everything, it was challenging to allocate time and and learn all these things. But I'm really proud of the fact that I actually learned all these things. And then I thought, like why stop here, right? Like there's other things, the other technologies that is being used in this team, right? My team, which is like Terraform is a very good programming, very good tool actually. It is used in infrastructure as code team, like to provision infrastructure. It can work with any cloud. It can work with Kubernetes. It basically got plugins for pretty much everything. So Terraform is a pretty cool technology to learn. So I actually started learning a little bit about Terraform. I did some Terraform changes in my team, and that actually gave me a little bit of confidence there. I won't say I'm a pro there, but I am actually starting to understand a lot in Terraform, and I can do simple changes. Now I actually got my eyes on Kubernetes, and I'm actually learning Kubernetes a lot. I've been posting a lot of videos on Kubernetes, as you guys might have seen actually. And I'm on my way to get the certified Kubernetes administrator certification, uh, and I'll be posting a lot of videos on it. And I'm doing that because like there is scope for that work in my team actually. So if I know this technology, and if there is a requirement of a resource to do some engineering work, and I can give a hand actually. I can say, okay, here, I know Kubernetes, I can give it a try, that kind of thing. So that's where I am. Like here, an important thing to note is like I still haven't left Oracle completely, right? It's still 50-60% of my job. I do a lot of data guard troubleshooting. I work with scripts that provision databases. I work with other teams to onboard their projects on cloud, uh, basically database projects. So that's all database engineering actually. So that's how actually I'm kind of changing my career. I'm sort of in the middle, but But is this it actually? Like, now that I'm here, I've learned a bunch of things. What else? Like, what else am I thinking about, right? So I just want to talk about that as well, right? Now that like I know a little bit about DevOps and I'm pretty confident about figuring out things in DevOps. But is that it actually? Do I just go from being like a senior database engineer or database admin to like a DevOps engineer who is again it's a pretty much in a horizontal move, right? Like you go from DBA to DevOps engineer. That's amazing. Like I have a great career, but it's horizontal move. Like like don't we all want to grow and get better titles? And I'm also one of those people. I do want to grow actually. So that's basically not the destination, right? And what I realize is DevOps engineer is not just it's not just pure DevOps engineering job. Actually, there's still a lot of coding. Like you saw, like I was doing a lot of Python coding, and there's like Java involved, and uh, there's all these software engineering work going on, right? So that's so DevOps engineer is pretty much like a software engineer actually. So I do feel the need to learn Java, and that way I can, like, I can do Java coding and Java engineering work, and like troubleshoot like applications which are built using Java, right? And at the same time, again, it's not just about being a good engineer, good individual contributor, right? Um, and one thing that I am actually uh, very careful about is like, I don't want to spend time doing things that doesn't benefit the business. I don't want to like keep tweaking some little script somewhere that we engineers always get stuck with, because it's cool, right? We like building things, we like troubleshooting and then figuring out the problem, things like that. I don't want to do unnecessary optimization, right? Sometimes it's okay to leave things to be imperfect and move on and deliver projects which will be more beneficial to the company and the business, right? So that's what I'm actually being very careful about. And of course, like one thing is, one thing that I learned from working with like good, very amazing software engineers is that they are able to actually put together these solutions, they're able to build a product and solve problems. And as database guys, it's always about like working with a database, migrating data from here to there, tuning queries, and making sure database is backed up, high availability, that kind of thing. I mean, that's really amazing area. That's all great projects and tasks actually. But I am just fascinated by how these software engineers are able to solve problems actually. And I want to actually first be able to identify problems. I'm actually like I have 12, 13 years of experience, and then it feels like this is a new world. And the problems that I've been solving is always around data, right? And scripts, and then tuning, optimization, that kind of thing. But I want to go to the next level and find problems that basically solves a big, it solves something big for the company, and then uh, helps the company significantly, right? So I want to go to that level, right? So that's I'm also like trying to I'm thinking about that a lot subconsciously. And last 2 points are pretty much like mindset shifts actually that happened over the last 2 3 years, which is basically not looking at IT job as boring as it is portrayed in movies and things. Like, you don't have to be only passionate about like other things like art and music. You can be passionate about engineering, IT, all these languages. not like in a fake way, but you can, these are all interesting stuff actually. And I am actually, I try to love whatever I get to do, like whatever it is, I'm like involved totally. I try to do it well, I do my best. And finally, like, this is very close to my heart. I'd like to share my knowledge with people like you. You might like take away a couple of things from this video and implement it in your life. And I like teaching. I like presenting things in a very simple, easy to understand way. I like teaching. And yeah, this YouTube channel is there for that reason. That's where I share and teach and do all those things that I was just talking about. Well, this is rather a long, like, sort of like, I didn't prepare much for it. I felt like I will just talk to you, and then you might be going through this journey, and hopefully uh, this video ends up being useful to you, and all the best actually. And again, subscribe to my channel, and follow my videos if you want to learn DevOps technologies. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.